Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about having a Capricorn Sun and a Scorpio Ascendant in a natal chart. Now, both these signs, they are compatible by sign. They are sextile by sign. They are both feminine signs, indicating introversion. And you look at a Capricorn Sun can be reserved. And you look at Scorpio, and Scorpio rising can be very mysterious, secretive, taciturn, and Capricorn Sun can be very quiet as far as their demeanor goes. So this is kind of a combination that really generally probably won't be very loquacious unless you have some contra indicators in the chart, such as a Mercury in the first house, for example. But when you have this combination is such where it's very purposeful, Capricorn Sun, even though it's not a fixed sign, they still could be single-minded and have some tenacity and real strong strength of purpose. Now, in Scorpio Ascendant can be very willful, and also they could be very as far as that having that strong willpower. They could be very persistent and tenacious. So this is kind of person that, like, say Capricorn Sun is about business, can be about business. Their business endeavors, if applicable, can really be sought after with that Scorpio Ascendant emotional intensity. Now, having Scorpio rising, this person may come across a lot more Scorpio than they would Capricorn on that first impression, since the rising sign or ascendant represents that mask or outer demeanor that one shows to oneself. They might be a little bit more sensitive on the surface because Scorpio is a water sign. Capricorn Sun can give off an impression of being at least somewhat undemonstrative and not very emotional, but the Scorpio rising will show emotional intensity, so it shows a little more emotion than what they actually are, perhaps deep down, which is the Sun sign. Now, when we look at our natal charts, the Sun sign represents our basic ones, while the rising sign or ascendant can represent the manner or method in which one attains these basic ones. Now, you look at the Capricorn Sun, and the basic ones connected with Capricorn Sun can be connected with their career, authority, responsibility, success, being productive, attaining ambitions, and business-related things. And having a Scorpio Ascendant, they may go about one or more of these matters with that emotional intensity, with that, with their indomitable spirit, with that inordinate willpower, that strong willpower that Scorpio rising can have, and may attain these ambitions that way by being resourceful. And you look at this as well, and it could be that Capricorn, as far as the business and career endeavors, they may be connected with the Scorpio, careers such as psychology, psychiatry, something connected with transformation. It could even be something like recycling or transforming lives of others, such as being like a motivational person, like a guru or something with law enforcement, something connected with detective, police work, forensics, perhaps something in astrology or the occult, the supernatural, and possibly even surgery. So being a surgeon is a possibility as well, a locksmith. And they could also attain these Capricorn Sun aims by maybe detecting duplicity, perhaps in others, being able to, by as far as business related, you figure, well, how would that apply? Well, if somebody is not giving them the right information, or they're trying to sell something to them, for example, that for a lot more money than what it is worth, and if they can detect that from, say, buying potential business, they may figure it out right away that this person is basically giving them a deception and a lie, and they'll go on to another another business opportunity, such as purchasing a business, for example, where that person isn't being duplicitous. So, in giving them the honest value of the business. As an example, I'm saying that because Scorpio rising can have really tremendous penetrating insight and can really see the subterfuge or duplicity in others probably more better than any other sign. Well, anyway, it's important to look at the aspect, if any, that is made between the Sun in Capricorn and the Scorpio Ascendant, as this can indicate how these energies may integrate and whether they may or may not as well as far as integration. Now, let's say you have a sextile aspect. Well, they're already sextile by sign, but if they're sextile by aspect, this could accentuate the positive blending even more. Let's say if someone has a Capricorn Sun at 4 degrees, and they have a Scorpio Ascendant at 2 degrees. That would form a sextile aspect, which is a positive major aspect, which is auspicious, and you can have a very good positive blending and integration of these signs, even better than just the fact of the signs by themselves being compatible. Now, you could also have a positive minor aspect take place. You could have a semi-sextile take place between these energies, these signs. Now, let's say if you have a Capricorn Sun at 0 degrees and a Scorpio Ascendant at 29 degrees, that would form a semi-sextile aspect, which is positive, but it's not as strong as the sextile, which I described before. It's similar, but more modified and less intense. Now, you could also have an out-of-sign square aspect take place, which is adverse. Now, let's say if you have the Capricorn Sun at 29 degrees, right, and you have the you have Capricorn Sun 29 degrees and Scorpio Ascendant at 2 degrees. Well, that would form an out-of-sign square aspect, which could be adversarial. And even though you still have the compatibility by sign, you would have a little bit more tension and exasperation because of this. And you may, even if the person is not cognizant of his or her astrological placements, there might be some feelings of being misconstrued or misunderstood by others, which leads to that exasperation and perhaps tension inwardly. Now, you could also have a semi-square aspect. Excuse me again, people. I got a stubborn Taurus cough, and it probably is not going away anytime soon, unfortunately. Now, you could have a semi-square aspect, which is it's a minor aspect, but it's adverse. Now, let's say you have the Capricorn Sun at 5 degrees, and you have a Scorpio Ascendant at 20 degrees. Well, that would form a semi-square aspect, which I call slightly adverse, which is like the square, but not as intense. Well, also look at the house placement of the Sun in Capricorn, because even though the Scorpio rising energy may suppress that Capricorn Sun energy to some degree, the Capricorn Sun energy may at least come out at least somewhat prominently in that particular house that it is posited in. Now, let's say that the Capricorn Sun is in the first house. Well, the first house is an angular house, so these qualities of Capricorn Sun may be accentuated more in on a first impression as well, being in the first house, and it may come out a little strongly because of the seriousness and the sternness, the responsible nature of Capricorn, and this might be seen more readily as opposed to it being in the second and third house, because it is in the first house of the outer personality. Now, if you have the Sun in Capricorn in the second house, well, these serious matters, the responsibility, being responsible, excuse me again, people, that sense of responsibility, the prudence and the pragmatism, practicality, the seriousness might come out in matters connected with their resources, their possessions, and generating income, and might be very methodical as well in that process, and have a lot of discipline in these matters as well. Now, if the Sun in Capricorn is posited in the third house, well, this person might show that sense of that Capricorn responsibility in matters connected with their communications and in their early education, perhaps in their short journeys, and even with brothers and sisters if applicable. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for having the Sun in Capricorn and the Scorpio Ascendant in a natal chart. Stay tuned next time where I'll be dissertating and talking about having a Capricorn Sun and a Sagittarius Ascendant in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in a natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.